This is the current smallest 1.05 second 5x5, closing in 0.85 seconds, and opening in 1.05 seconds. Being only 4 blocks wide, it's incredibly small at only 660 blocks. To build a store, you'll need the items in this chest. These are non-stackable items, any stackable and a different stackable item. These are the wiring blocks. This is door/door frame blocks. And these are any type of stair and any type of slab. You will need 4 blocks wide, 15 long, and then 11 tall. So to get started, we'll want to start with our layout with a double piston extender in the middle, 2 blocks from the front. Build a 5x5 frame with that in the center. And then bottom layout, we have 2 pistons there, piston facing inwards, and then another storage block there. 2 blocks from the bottom, a sticky piston here. This will act as a block swapper. And then we want 3 triple piston extenders, 3 blocks at the bottom. Not 3, but 4 triple piston extenders. And then 4 storage pistons here, and then 4 blocks there. And this will be your sides, which will do that. And we do the same on the other side. And now the top layout is really weird because I have 2 storage on top and 3 on bottom, which normally that's only done in 0.9s. So I have a normal TP folded to the side, and then this fold is also being used as a single on the top. And then we just have a sticky piston here to do that single. But for this, we want to grab this block from here, so there's a sticky piston that pops into the floor. And to do that, we have a triple piston extender there, and then a double here. And then 2 more pistons on top here. Now what this is going to do is that these will short pulse on the closing, and then push over. And then these will power... Actually, this won't do that first. This will push over first. And then that'll push over. And then that'll pull over to there, and then you'll have your fold stacked over. And this will be solidly powered on the opening. In the opening, this will do that, and then this will attract that block. And then the TP can extend. This way it'll store an extra block on the top. TP is pretty standard. And then also does that block there. But then this does that. And then it retracts that there. This extra piston here is not really needed, but it kind of is so that we can toggle this and then pull it away. So really this is just a single. So to start with the input line, we have our input here. Sticky piston, redstone block, lamp there with dust on top, slab here, 2 observers there, an observer facing downwards here, dust there, 3 scaffold there, dust, observer, slab, slab, and then another observer there, and then a slab here, block here, observer here with 2 scaffold there, and a dust, sticky piston, and a redstone block. For the right side of the input line, you want another sticky piston, redstone block, observer facing down and then 1 facing over, dust here, hopper facing down, a solid block there, slab there, observer, slab, another observer there, dust on top of all that, block there, slab here with a hopper there, and then a target block, dust on top of both those, dropper here, right there, then a hopper and dust on top of that. Now we want to come around over here from this block and place two slabs there, and then a hopper here, slab, all the way up to here, dust on all those, and in front of all these dusts you want a block there, observer below, and then a piston here, block there, and then two updater pistons. Now this will create a zerotick slider, which will help with the sides. We're going to start the extra storage with this TP in the top, so we want a zerotick into there instantly, and to do that, place a piston here, an observer, dust, block here, sticky piston, two sticky pistons there, a redstone block, any wall block, dust, target, dust there, two tick repeater, sticky piston with a block on top, and then an observer. So this will have 3 microticks after this, so this will create a 0 tick to retract the block on the opening. Now go to this hopper, place an observer, no block there to update, and then this no block is going to have an observer out from it, just there, repeater on 3 ticks, 2 tick repeater there, sticky piston here with a target, so that this will extend to giving a little extra delay, and that dust will power the target, slab there, dust, wall blocks there, dust there, any block there, and then hopper there, no block here, dust here, repeater on 1 tick, observer from that 2 tick repeater, and then into there, a wall block here, and then a rail which will update that piston on the opening when it's butted. Now before we test it, place an obsidian here so that this doesn't push over and break on the closing, and now that top storage should work. You see there'll be a bar of 3 there. Let's drag that block up into there. Now we're going to start with the top. So we're going to place several observers, one there, out from there into there, and then that'll bud that. Another block there, sticky piston there, log, a leaf, and then observer out from that leaf, and then an observer there with a block. Also want a block there. Now we're going to come from this redstone block and place a piston there to get powered by it when it extends, an observer there, sticky piston there with a block. We want to place a sticky piston here with a log there, piston there, and then a piston there. And then this will need to refire on the closing, so it'll leave the log out. So we need an observer there, block, a rail, observer, and then place a leaf there, observer, block, dust, target there, block, dust, piston here, which will be used for the sides, and then slab there, wall block there, dust on all of that, a hopper here, 2 observers, and then make sure to have an updater. And also make sure you have an obsidian there. That way it doesn't push over. Now the top should work except for the final pulse. That'll break on the closing, but we'll fix that with the bottom. So it should do everything except retract those last 2 blocks. And to do that, we place a sticky piston, a log, a leaf, an observer, a slab, and then dust, and then an observer. Observer facing that way. A 1-tick repeater there, and then a 2-tick repeater. A 1-tick repeater there, and a sticky piston and an observer. So this will give that sticky piston a 5-game tick pulse, which will create a pseudo pulse, which will retract those last 2 blocks. So now we will build the right side. This updater needs to go that way, actually. Then we need 2 note blocks there, a 4-tick repeater, an observer, a piston, glass block, solid block, and then a stair there, glass, redstone block, glass, and then this piston, which will push down all the way on the closing. We need another slider here, piston, observer, block, observer. We need to get out a minecart now. I'm just going to use a furnace minecart, but any type of minecart should work. We need a wall. Get a rail out where you can push that into the wall. So replace this slab with a glass. That way it doesn't get pushed up at all. And we need a protector rail here. I'll push things up. An observer. Then we can just push it up, and the minecart should just stay like that. And then replace the dust, and fix whatever else broke here. We need a note block here, a piston, to act as our updater for our 0-tick slider there. We need a furnace with a non-stackable item in it. Any solid block there. A redstone repeater. Actually, yeah, no, just like that. And then we have a sticky piston here with an observer there. Solid block there. Target, block, target, and then 2 pistons there. Now we want to place a dust here, slab here, comparator, block, and then another comparator. Then we want to go around over here, place a block, a comparator, and we're going to want a non-stackable item, and then 28 items, or you could have 7 items that stack to 16. The point is that it needs to be 5 signal string. That way it'll run all the way up to this dust and not go any further. Now we want to push this slider down at 0.4, so it'll create our chain at 0.6. So we place an observer there, and then an observer there. We also want a slab here with a 2-tick repeater, which will push this down at 0.7. Then we place an observer here, sticky piston with a solid block, and then an observer there, and an observer there. And now to finish off this side, we want an observer here, a 2-tick repeater. This will solidly power this in the closing so it can't push down. And then we want blocks in the wall here. That way it'll power the pistons when they're here. And that side should entirely work. We're now going to build the left side. So we start with a piston here for a slider, and then a glass, block, target, glass, target, piston. We want a slab here, comparator, block, comparator, a piston here with an observer there, dust, glass, solid block, and then the rest of these are just glass. Now I want to continue the input line, just like we did on the other side. So we add a slab there, an observer, a hopper, and then some more slabs there. Dust on top of all of that. Piston here, observer, block, observer, block, and observer. And then we want a block here, with a piston there, and then a piston there. Also want an observer there. Want to come around over here with a dropper, and then an observer there, sticky piston, block there with, and then we want this to be filled with a stackable, or sorry, a non-stackable, and then 32 stackable items to give the 5 signal strength. And then we need a note block here, with a observer there, and then comparator, furnace, shovel in there, and then piston. And we need to get our minecart in again. We'll put the block there. Then we want observer, block, observer. And then we can just put our updater there and then push it up. And then we want a piston at the top. So I did make one mistake there, and that's that this needs to be an observer facing this way into that sticky piston. Put your comparator back, and then we need a dropper here, the composter, and then just anything in there that can't be compostable, and then that'll just silence the dropper. And then an observer there. Want an observer there. Move that piston temporarily, and then 6 ticks there, so I just have 2 and a 4 there, which means this will power at 7, and it'll create our final 0 tick at 18 game ticks. To finish off the left side, you want an observer here, a block, and then a repeater. And we need to do this block swapper, so 2 observers there, another observer there, and then one there. In theory, this side should also work. Oh, I just remembered. Need a block there and then a block there to do the chain. The bottom broke, but the sides did work. Now we're gonna build the bottom and finish off the door. But first, just place an observer here. That'll just do this piston to the top. And then we come down here, we place a furnace there, any block in there, and then we want a furnace or any item in the top slot, as long as it's different, that would silence the dropper. We want an observer here, one down, and then no block here, and another observer there. And this will do this piston storage. But we need one more pulse on the closing, and that'll conveniently do that. So we also need a piston there, observer facing into that. And weirdly, I kind of do a slightly different animation by pushing that up first, then the sides will push that over, and then we can push the top over. So that'll push over really early. But we need to power it again on the opening at 0.3, that way we'll retract this block down to there. And then we need a comparator there on subtract mode. 2 blocks there. Dust with a repeater on 2 ticks. And then a dropper here. Observer there. 2 items in that dropper. This is because it'll fire twice, but it'll fire too quickly, and with 2 items then it'll never make any noise. And we need a sticky piston, 2 observers there, and that should be the bottom closing done. So now the bottom should work, and it should do some stuff on the opening too. Yeah, but then it kind of breaks. So to make the double piston extender, we need observer there, sticky piston, a log, leaf, an observer there, a block, no block, an observer, and then a block there. And this will spam, and one of the pulses will kind of break it, so we need a sticky piston to prevent that. And then we need 2 pulses into this bottom, and we do that with a observer, a block here, and then a sticky piston, an observer, and then an observer there, and then it should be. That should be the whole door done. And there you have it. There's the whole door done.
Subscribe.